What have you decided to do? Are you sticking it out in real estate or are you quitting? Real estate's mighty easy to get into, but it's not so easy to stick with, is it? I'm Kathy Burns, and I'm a realtor here in the Lake Norman area, just north of Charlotte, North Carolina. And I have been in the business 19 years this summer, and had some rough years. Boy, I started out broke. It was rough. And the market's rough again. The whole economy's rough again. I was just listening to a webinar, and they were talking about the stats. Houses are double what they used to be, just a few years ago. Income's not double. The house payment's double. A house that you may have bought 2, 3, 4 years ago, you may not be able to afford to buy today. So if you were to sell it, you're not going to move. So the whole industry's affected by this. However, there are still people moving. There's still people who have to move. And there's so many agents. So a lot of them are going to leave. They're going to leave because, they're just frustrated. It's not for them. It was easy to get into. They didn't run it like a business. They don't have the hustle to run it like a business. And I'm not knocking them. That's just who they are. It's such an easy option to get your license. And people see Mercedes and BMWs and big checks and big houses and think everybody's making a fortune. It's the net, people. It's not the gross. And if you're one of the ones that says, I want to stick it out. I want to scale. I want to level up. There's a lot of resources that you can get in touch with to figure that out. The company that you're with, very important. I think I started with Coldwell Banker. Now, when I say that I didn't get from these different companies, remember that this is in my history. And in my specific places that I went. Doesn't mean that people didn't get help there. It didn't help me to the level that I wanted from it, so I moved forward. So Coldwell Banker, I didn't find any training, and this was back in 2006 in my particular office. Great people. I did get phone duty, which is not even a thing anymore. I did get that, and that helped me a lot, and I worked my butt off doing that phone duty. I didn't get collaboration there. Everybody was very secretive. All the people who were succeeding hid what they did. They just did it. And so you really didn't know. I remember going to my first closing. I had no idea what I was doing. Thank God. There was this gal, Julie Horton. If you're listening, girl, this is for you. She was on the other side. She represented probably the seller because I think I had the buyer. And we were supposed to have a termite form signed. Thank God I brought at least the form. I didn't know what I was doing. She picked up on that, and man, she was a jewel. She guided me. She acted like it was no big deal. She just said, "Hey, you're Kathy, hand me the form." She handed it to the attorney to sign. That attorney gave it back to me. And it all acted like, to our clients, like I knew what I was doing, when it was really Julie and her kindness. Never forgot it. Never forgot it. And I really respected her so much for that. Not all agents do that. That's another whole topic. We'll get back on track here. But my whole point is, this is a tough business. It's easy to get in. It wasn't that costly for me to get in. You have to come up with your MLS dues. You have to be prepared to not be paid for at least 6 months. You have to be prepared to hustle. You have to be prepared to call your friends, to treat it like a business. You have to form an LLC at some point. You could do it as, just in your name for a while, but you're really going to want to do it as an LLC fairly quick. And you're going to want to have profit and loss. You're eventually going to need to, be scheduling your taxes out, maybe even payroll like I do, even though it's just me. There's a lot of ways, but I knew to run it like a business. I knew that from my background that was critical. And also, I was dead broke. I needed to make this work. It was non-negotiable for me. There's a lot of people who get in where it's a hobby. Please get out. Don't do that. Don't do that to the people that are buying and selling property, because you're not skilled at it, and you're not doing them a favor, and you're not doing the industry a favor. And I don't mean that to be insulting. I'm just saying, it takes away from the ones that are trying to do it from a business as well. Especially if you don't need the money. Come on, do us all a favor, please. And for the ones that, that really want to do this, like maybe you're starting out like me. I was 55 when I started. You got to figure out how you're going to make this work. This is non-negotiable. You gotta make this work. So Those people are committed, but you got to run it like a business. And it's not just a 9-to-5 job, man. It feels consuming. It feels consuming in the beginning. There are companies that can help you leverage. I started, like I said, with Coldwell Banker. I moved over to Remax because I'd heard that there were more business players there, and that's what I wanted. And I was there for 7 years. I ended up having a business partner, Patty Betts, who was great. We really built a great business together. We really jived together really well. We had the same work ethic, which was important, but we had different talents. What I was good in, she was not. What she was good in, I was not. She handled all the details. I hated the details. It's not my style. But when we would call on expireds, I needed her body there as we would go walk up to the doors because I was nervous. But I wasn't nervous to talk. I just didn't want to go alone. I needed a buddy. And Patty was my buddy. And she was great. And she didn't really want to talk when we got up to the door. And it was great. We built a good business together. And that lasted about 7 years. And we left Remax about 7 years in and moved over to a smaller boutique firm, which she left. Maybe she was there about a year. I can't even remember how long. And we dissolved our partnership, which was all good. And she went her way, I went mine. And I ended up leaving there and ended up going to KW. And I went to KW really out of necessity. I needed to leave the other firm. I was asked to leave the other firm. We had a disagreement on how things should be done, and they asked me to leave, which is fine. It's all good. No hard feelings, everything. I'm actually really grateful for every one of those steps because it got me to where I am today. So I ended up going to KW because I didn't know where else to go. I checked out all the comp plans. Didn't like anything that was out there. Really didn't like KW's comp plan. But friends of mine were there, Craig LePage and Shelley Johnson, and I trusted them. And they said, just come settle here. I was also dealing with my mom at the time who had dementia. I was trying to figure out how to take care of her. She was a brand new venture of dealing with, and also how to be a single agent versus a team, and a team of just her and I and a buyer's agent. And that was a switch in itself. But I did it, right? I did it. Well, and KW even honored me by asking me to be a coach for all the new agents there. And that was great too. I was invited to do it. I was going to get paid to do it. However, when I looked at it, it wasn't for me. It wasn't my style. I couldn't go along with it. It wasn't just my style. And that's not a bad thing. It just wasn't my style, right? I would have been paid for it too, and I would have liked that. I could have used it, but it wasn't for me. And I ran into Craig and Shelley the day that I said no, and they said, would you come on our team? And I said, well, make me an offer. They did. I liked it. And they asked me to be a mentor on the team, which was very flattering as well. And then 2 weeks later, they said, we're going to EXP. I'm like, I've had so much transition, whatever. You're a mega team. You do big sales. You're well respected in the area. I know you. I like you. I'm just going to trust you. And I went. And so I did. And then I dove into what EXP was and learned all about it. And it's been life-changing for me. It's not for everybody. I'm going to tell you, I get residual income from it, which is a dream for me because I was 55, remember, when I started. And that was 2006. I was just about to click over to 56. And so that's it takes a while to build your business up. And at one point, do you level out and never see retirement? I never saw retirement happening. I never saw it being able to stop. That was my challenge. I wasn't the cold caller that could make all those calls. I didn't really even know about that for the longest time. I didn't know that existed. So maybe I would have done it earlier, but I didn't. So that was not a piece of my business. Mine was all about building relationships, building repeats and referrals. And that's how I built my business. I see these people on the phone today, they're just hustling and they're making those calls. I still can't do it, but I respect and admire them because they're making way more money than I ever did. And they're focused. They're very focused and on a mission, and they succeed. And it's just not me. So anyway, the first thing I saw was the collaboration. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been searching for everywhere. So I got collaboration, I got stock, and they offered things to help pay me if I shared that, because that's what the founder's vision is. If you help the company grow, they'll give you money back or stock back. I like that. It made sense to me. Thank you. Thank you, and I started to see hope. And if that sounds like you, where you're in this real estate business and you're struggling, you're not feeling hope, maybe you should check it out. It may not be for you. There's other companies that are similar, and maybe it's for you at that company. But if you're interested and you want to check out more, please schedule a business strategy call with me. I'm not going to pressure you. I'm not begging anybody to come in, because that's not what I want. I want people who want change and like this one. If you like it, then let's run together. Let's have some fun, and let's have some time and financial freedom. So if you like this and you're interested in leveling up more, whether you agree with EXP or not, it's irrelevant. Do you understand? It's irrelevant. What I want is to level you up. I want to pay forward with different things that I've learned, things that I keep learning, and along the way, find the people that are looking for me. They want to run with me and have some time and financial freedom through EXP. And let's see if that works. So subscribe below, share, like, do all that stuff, and let's hang out together. Sounds fun.